Now, something that I hear from people who are on the same side that I'm on. But what side is that? Well, the side that sees the level of depravity that's going on here with these people and how it's going to get worse. The side that sees that, that's the side I'm on. And what I hear from the side that I'm on is the denial of homosexuals being a group of people that have been targeted and discriminated against in all kinds of ways, lawfully and otherwise. Laws have been put on the books against even being homosexual. But people pretend that there was no need for them to fight back. That's a lie. And they have fought back, but now what we have with them is a scenario being played straight out of George Orwell's Animal Farm. And whoever don't know the story, let me show you a few bits and pieces to sum it up for you.
Damned old hens. Good for nothing beasts. Eat their heads off.
Look at them while you can. You porkers, do you know what the future holds for you? Do we deserve such a fate? Is this farm too poor to support us all? No, comrades. When a farm is rich, but we'll never get our rightful share from Farmer Jones. Overthrow this evil tyrant, and we shall be rich and free.
Courage! Revolt!
So that all might see and agree, the laws of Animal Farm were inscribed in a prominent place, to be remembered and obeyed forever.
No animal shall sleep in a bed. No animal shall drink alcohol. 4 legs good, 2 legs bad.
Wings count as legs.
Now began the heartbreaking job of rebuilding. And as before, Boxer and Benjamin worked hardest of all. By now, supervision of the work by pigs was hardly necessary, so they had time for less laborious pursuits. And that night, the pigs drank to Boxer's memory in the whiskey they had bought with Boxer's life. Years passed. The seasons came and went. The short animal lives fled by than sacrifice. But the animal's revolution was only dimly remembered. Outwardly, Animal Farm appeared prosperous, but the animals themselves were no better off, with the exception of the pigs and their supreme leader, Napoleon.
Loyal followers. On farms owned and operated by pigs, there is order and discipline. Our lower animals do more work and eat less than on other farms. This will encourage you to make your lower animals work even harder and eat even less. To a greater animal farm. To peace and plenty under pig rule.
Where you had animals that were being oppressed by the humans. Then the farm animals staged a rebellion and overthrew their oppressors. Then the pigs started to oppress the other animals on the farm. A targeted group have now sought to enslave others. And guess what? That looks to be pretty much standard operation. Because every kind of group I can think of, gender groups, religious groups, race groups, atheism groups want to step on theist groups. This race wants to impede on the other. Male wants to put female underfoot. Female wants to invade male-dominated spaces, and whatever other kind of group. All seek to mess with other people's spaces. Civil rights movement, yes, sought to invade the comfort zone of racists. The North sought to trample on the right that the Southerners felt that they had to own other human beings. All groups want to mess with other people, and this LGBTQI thing is no different. So to the notion that they just want the freedom to be themselves, that's a lie. They want to invade other people's sovereignty and comfort zones or whatever. A scenario for you. Me and you are kids, brother and sister, sister and brother, whatever. We both get a whooping, then sent to our room, and we're both crying. And I look over and I tell you, shut up crying. I'm the only one that could cry here. Right, and what is my reasoning? Well, because you only got hit with the belt 10 times, but I got hit 18 times, so shut up. And that scenario was for those who have a problem with me saying that homosexuals have been targeted. You can't refute it, so you said, yeah, but at least it wasn't because they were black. Nobody has had it bad as us in this country. Or then the other one would say, no, but I'm a woman and you have no idea what it's like being a female, and we're the most marginalized group in this country. Then somebody else would say, no, all y'all be quiet because at least you didn't get your entire country taken from you like they did my people. Then another group would be like, no, you have no right because at least y'all are not getting replaced with immigrants like they're trying to do us.
Police arrested a man after they say he shot and wounded a transgender woman he met on a dating app. The incident happened back in May on Richmond Avenue in the Galleria area, but he was just recently arrested. Anayeli Ruiz joins us live from that area. Anayeli.
Well, hey guys, the victim asked us not to identify her for her own safety, but she says the suspect shot her after they had a sexual encounter and they argued about her being transgender.
First time I ever like an argument like that.
It was May 7th when this woman says she nearly died after being shot allegedly by 25-year-old Eric Aguillon. The woman says they met on a dating app a few days prior.
They said I was lucky to be alive.
Court documents say Aguillon came over after there was a sexual encounter and they began arguing.
It transpired to argument for me not telling him. He said I didn't tell him I was transgender, and which I guess what I told him, or he felt between my legs and he knew.
The victim believes Aguillon was mad and shot her. The gunshot left her paralyzed.
Yeah, I have a lot of internal injuries. I got a laceration on my liver and spinal cord, which caused for me not to walk. He said I didn't tell him I was transgender, and which I guess what I told him, or he felt between my legs and he knew.
That's what I told him, or he felt between my legs and he knew? Okay, you're lying, because what does "that's what I told him," or he felt between my legs and he knew mean? It means you're lying. Now you'll probably be in that wheelchair for the rest of your life. Why? For lying. That man didn't find out you was a man until you got him to your house. You could have told him you was a man on the dating app, but you didn't. Now you shot. Had a sexual encounter. Probably reached down there while you was giving him head, and he felt the same thing between your legs that he got. Felt between my legs and he knew. Yeah, after he felt it. Now I'm going to get into a few different things, so this video is probably going to be very long, but because there's this one subject, because this is one subject I'm going to get into, I want to make a distinction in the kind of situation that I'm not going to be talking about. Let me show you what that is.
Ty Underwood, beautiful, vivacious, unique. Ask anyone who knew her.
Ty was amazing. She was just an outstanding person. She was loved by family and friends. Didn't let nothing get in her way. She said if there was a will, there was a way. And we lived by that.
And the way she lived was different too. Ty was born a man. What Ty never knew, what she never would imagine, is her life would end in bloodshed. At 2:36 a.m. on a quiet street in Tyler.
Tyler 911 is your emergency police fire ambulance. It's a car across the street. It looked like it's up out of telephone poles and the headlights are on. And I don't see anybody out of the car, and my grandbaby said they thought they heard some shooting.
Did Ty know her killer? The answer could be locked up behind a 4-digit passcode.
They needed the code to unlock the phone. They couldn't get into the cell phone right away to figure out who Ty had been communicating with.
Is my brain really dead?
Yes, sir.
At the station, police interview Kenya about Ty's relationships. One name stands out.
Do you know any of her friends?
The last one I knew of was this dude named Carlton.
How long has she been seeing this Carlton person?
He spent 2 or 3 nights at our apartment.
It was through a chat app called Kik. But strangely, Carlton says he deleted Kik from his tablet just that morning.
The police were suspicious. They knew there were messages through the Kik app, and the fact that somebody who was supposedly dating Ty would have deleted the only messaging system that they were investigating was clearly suspicious.
If cops want to see who Ty was chatting with, there's only one way.
The victim's roommate told me that if we got into the victim's phone, we would know who the victim was meeting.
But that would mean cracking Ty's iPhone lock screen.
It would require the correct PIN code in order to unlock the phone.
They guess at PIN codes flying blind, risking losing the data permanently.
They knew they only had a certain number of tries before the phone would lock up for good.
Finally, a Hail Mary.
They guessed that it would be Ty's date of birth, and they were right.
When Ty's iPhone opens, all of her communications, texts, IMs, and Kiks are suddenly revealed, including incriminating chats with Carlton Champion.
They had had a sexual relationship that was clear from the nature and the language of the text messages between them.
The unlocked phone exposes a treasure trove of romantic conversations and X-rated selfies. And the messages make one thing absolutely clear.
It's obvious that Champion is lying about not knowing whether or not Ty was a woman. Ty had been clear about who she was, and the text messages revealed that.
The texts also reveal their newfound romance was about to change. On the night of the murder, the messages with Carlton grow darker. Ty accuses the college freshman of meeting other sexual partners online, and she furiously texts, "I'm on my way up there. I'm coming to the school." To which Carlton replies, "No, you're not." Then a key piece of evidence seals Carlton's fate. The DNA sample from inside Ty's car comes back from the lab. Guess who it matches?
They found Carlton's DNA on the seatbelt and the door handle inside the car, which is the same car that Carlton had said he'd never been inside. They brought Carlton into the police station for an interview.
Obviously, you know, we're investigating a homicide. You know Tyrone. You have sex with Tyrone.
Cops think Champion will crumble under the overwhelming evidence and sitting in handcuffs. But the young football star shamelessly jukes through question after question without showing a single sign of remorse.
So let's go down here.
I'm hungry.
We should ate at school.
Yes, you heard him right. When asked about the murder, Champion smiles and says he wants a hamburger.
I'm not hungry. I'm hungry as hell. I feel like eating Whataburger.
Sit there.
You ain't got a taste for no Whataburger now? Burger King, McDonald's.
So are you gay?
I mean, I'm hungry right now.
Are you gay?
Nah, I'm not gay at all.
Then why are you having sex with a man?
I want having sex with a man.
Situations like that happens plenty of time, I suppose, with some gay dude masquerading around as straight but got a boyfriend. Boyfriend threatens to tell, down low dude murders him or beats him up. Right, people like Carlton belong in jail right where he's at. Because even with the threat of being exposed, you don't take nobody's life behind that. But that's the kind of situation that I'm not going to be referencing. Another kind of situation, very similar to the one I just showed you, but not exactly the same. And some of you are probably going to remember this story. A lady walks in on two dudes, and one of the dudes she said that she had sex with about 2 years earlier, she said. But anyway, she walks in on these dudes, and here's what she said.
See the whole gay bird in front of my whole two eyes. Two eyes. I had to come here and tell them about it. Listen. Happened earlier today. Hold on. This nigga, y'all, that... Hold on, let me wait for some more people to get on here. Because y'all got to hear this story, because this is a good story. You know, we hear a lot of shit, but we don't never really get to see that shit. Because these niggas, they hiding. Listen, y'all, they're hiding behind the covers in the sheets around this bitch. The covers in the sheets. You feel me? The covers in the sheets. Hiding. They're hiding. So, I have been, discussing some shit with this nigga. We were doing some business, me and this dude. Now, I'm going to tell you, he did give me some head way back a long time ago. Long time ago, a couple of years ago, like before I started fucking with Fran or something, he wasn't even there. It was it was about 2 years, was it 2 years ago? About 2 years ago. I think when I first was on Orchard, he gave me some head. That's when it was, Okay, so when I was on Orchard, nigga gave me some head, right? Never really talked to him like that. I had the old man. I had a lot of other shit going on, so I never talked to the nigga like that. No, listen. So, I was doing some business with this nigga, right? Hold on. I had to run in there and still take my phone and run out. They chased me out the house. Hold on. Bitch, I let you give me some head and you out here fucking niggas in their ass? Oh, no. This shit's not gonna fly. No, it's not. And I feel disgusted. I've been sick all day. Thinking about how I let you suck on my motherfucking pussy. And you're over there hitting the fudge out the back of niggas. I can't. Shit. I ain't never seen that shit. Listen, I never seen that shit with my own two eyes. But today, I've been scorned for life. But today, I'm trying to move forward. Today, I've been traumatized. You niggas out here traumatizing bitches. Pull down on this nigga. Hold on. I grabbed what I came to get or whatever. He's like, come on over here to my uncle's house or whatever. Boom. Familiar with your uncle's house. Had been over there before once or twice or something like that. You know what I mean? So I had grabbed whatever, but I'm in a rush because I got to get back to the shop or whatever, or whatnot. So, boom. I'm riding down the street. I done got the nigga being Speedway, right? I'm damn near to the tire shops on 16th Street. I'm like, fuck. I don't left my phone. So I start calling my phone, and I start calling his phone, and wasn't nobody answering on my shop phone. I got a little flip. That's my shop phone, right? So, girl, yeah. So I'm on my little shop flip phone, and I'm like, boom, calling my cell phone, calling this phone. Ain't want nobody answer. So I'm like, damn. So now I done got back over there. I done parked right up by the front door, though. Thank God, because they chased me out of there. They was trying to kill me. Y'all, they tried to kill me. So anything happened to me, y'all know they tried to kill me today. Them niggas. And then when I got in the car, I started talking shit. If anybody knows me, that's how I get down. As soon as I get to the car, when I get close to my pistol, I'm really talking shit now. So wait a minute. So look. I'm in here. Hold on. I'm banging on the door. I'm like, boom, boom, boom. So I'm knocking on this motherfucking door. I'm like, I need my fucking phone. That's my money bag. I'm like, hitting this motherfucking door. And I'm like, won't nobody come to the fucking door, right? I'm like, damn. Something told me to check the door. That motherfucker was unlocked. When I stepped in there, y'all. Oh my God, my stomach hurts. My stomach hurts. When I walked in there, y'all, what I seen with my own two eyes. Hold on. Thank God my phone was sitting on the table right there by the door. I swung that door open and I said, oh! And I couldn't even talk the words. I couldn't get the words out of my mouth, right? So I'm like, I'm trying to breathe. I'm like, and I just looked down and see my phone. I snatched my phone. They were standing there just staring at me. So them motherfuckers looking like the devil.
She's not here anymore. And I didn't play the part in the clip I showed you, but she said that she tried to extort the two dudes. She said that if she's not paid $5,000, then she gonna drop dime on them, right? And they murdered her. And they should be in jail because, yeah, she was extorting you, but you can come up with something better than taking her life for that, man. And her, she should have just, if she was going to drop dime, she should have just dropped dime or kept her mouth shut about it instead of trying to demand money from people. But those are the kind of situations I won't be talking about. Down low people. Later, or as I go on, you'll see what kind of situations I am going to be talking about. Now, people's sexuality is not something to be played with. But the type that I'm talking about only feels that their sexual orientations should be respected, whereas they feel that everyone else's should be flexible or up for debate or open to interpretation. To them, there is only one sexual orientation. And what is that? Well, for everyone to be open to whatever.
Investigators say the teenage suspect was so enraged that after shooting the victim multiple times, he left and then returned to the crime scene to open fire once again. Police say video from the neighborhood led them to the alleged killer, 18-year-old Orlando Perez, now held without bond. Investigators say Perez had gone home with the victim, 37-year-old Selena Reyes Hernandez, shortly after meeting her on the morning of May 31st. And in her basement apartment in Marquette Park, Perez learned Reyes Hernandez was transgender.
The offender became very upset. He left the residence. He became more upset, and that's when he came back to the residence, and then he brutally murdered the victim in this case.
Prosecutors say Perez returned to the apartment a third time, again opening fire on the victim's lifeless body.
Returned and killed him some more. Everybody not playing about their sexuality. Same as like those two dudes who murdered the lady because they didn't want their business being put out in the street. But when you hear these news reports of these kinds of stories where some dude find out that he was with the man, they'll refer to the slain dude as she. She was a kind person. She was a loving person. The suspect shot her and she this and her that. But my thing is that only aids in the delusion. Because if they feel like a female and people are calling them female, then what exactly do they need to disclose to a dude that's looking for a female? He's a female, so why tell some unsuspecting guy that, hey, I'm a dude? Why do that? If you think you're a female and other people are calling you a female, what is it exactly do you have to tell? See, and it's that kind of thinking that gets them removed off of this earth. Being deluded into thinking that you're really what a straight male is interested in.
He flew out here. He's my boy. We're in a daddy-boy relationship. He flew out here, and tonight I get on the road trip, and I'm working at Gay Pride in Columbus, Ohio next weekend. I'm driving there.
And he's your daddy boy. What's a daddy boy?
Daddy-boy relationships, the best way I describe it is incest and mentorship.
Now there's this lie that's told by these weird people And the lie goes something like, well, what's wrong with people wanting to call themselves something? Why does it bother you what I want to identify myself as? This is my truth. Let me live it. Why does it bother you who I choose to love? Pretending that all they seek is the right to be who they are. But others like myself, when we see a grown man beating a 14 and 10-year-old girl in the skateboard competition, we know that this is not just about what they want to identify themselves as. Not just about them wanting to identify as something. When we hear about female inmates that are now turning up pregnant, we know that this is not just about them living their truth. When we hear about the story of some naked man walking around in a spa with his weenie out in front of in a female's locker room where women and girls were, then this is not just about them just wanting to use different pronouns. And I saw a sign. This is a recent sign that they made. A sign that says love is age and gender blind. And I told people a while back that it won't be long before they try to pull the age is a social construct routine. You know, like they do with everything else. They call it everything just a mere social construct. It won't be long before who they choose to love will be children. And they'll try to make it law. So no, this is not just about people need to stop worrying about what's going on in somebody else's bedroom.
And it's a common trend among people who have never had to face like transgender-related discrimination that you think it's not a big deal because you don't have to deal with it.
I didn't say I didn't think it was a big deal. I said I didn't care if people called me that.
It helps us from public institutions, but it does prevent us from accessing healthcare. And it does prevent us from accessing other services.
I'm not arguing about your rights.
Yes, you are.
Yes, you are. These things about our rights.
Legislation for trans
I'm sorry. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Do you realize that right now, if you were to kill a trans person, because only for the sole reason that they're trans, that would not be considered a hate crime. Sure, they could be convicted of murder, but not of a hate crime. And that's what this bill. That's what
this in the States, they can use a trans panic defense in almost all of the United States and get off by claiming temporary insanity because they were freaked out by the trans person.
I am not claiming.
I want you to hear something again, said by the dude in the black dress. You know, it's loud out there, everybody trying to talk at the same time, so I'll play part of it again.
And that's what this
I don't
bill.
see what
that's
this.
what
this in the States, they can use a trans panic defense in almost all of the United States and get off by claiming temporary insanity because they were freaked out by the trans person.
I am not claiming.
Plead temporary insanity. Like examples I played earlier, dudes would just lose it when they discovered that they'd been tricked into being with a dude. The dude in the black dress is talking about actual cases where people have pled insanity after doing something to one of these predators. But you heard the dude in the dress describe it as just because they were freaked out by the trans person. And why did he describe it like that? Well, because they don't see that what the imposter did was wrong. They feel entitled to other people's bodies. So no, their thing is not about them just wanting the right to get married or to identify themselves how they see fit. No, it ain't.
What else I want to talk about? This might get me in trouble, but oh well, it needs to be addressed. Respecting people's truths. I got nothing but love for all our brothers and sisters in the gay community. Period. It ain't my business. That's between you, who you love, and God. With that being said, and respecting each other's truth, if I respect yours, respect mine. Gentlemen, let's not be in the comment section with the eggplant emojis and you know, the sexual comments. I'm not a fan of that. I appreciate you support my work, but let's not be in the DM talking about, hey, sexy, what's up? What's good? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. So, again, if I respect your truth, respect mine. Respect people's truths. We don't need to be harassing nobody and doing all of that, man. It's too much. It's too aggressive. I say let's not do that, and let's just respect who people are genuinely. I think that's a fair request.
Here's some of the tweets that you'll see from a lot of different people who chimed in about the situation. But the gay community quickly flipped the script on Christian. He is now being called homophobic for his comments. Some gay men are even suggesting that they will boycott any project that Christian works on. But if you stand up like Christian Keys does and says, hey, I'm not with that type of lifestyle, please be respectful of my decision. Stay out of my inbox with all that, download stuff and eggplant emojis and pictures, whatever they send them. Now it's an uproar. Now everybody don't like it. I personally have had gay men in my life boldly approach me. It just feels odd and weird. And I tell you what, gay men have to approach you. They are still men and they have to make the first move. But in their minds, they feel as though they are entitled to female benefits and treatment. So they get angry when you turn them down, reject them, and walk away. It's like, no, you're still a man. You were born a man.
Now, when I'm a bigot, because the only penis I'm in love with and need in my life is my own, then it's not just about them wanting to be treated fairly under the law. And I do. I love my penis. He and I have been in a monogamous relationship all my life. Let me show you what I mean.
Now, some lesbians are claiming they have faced accusations of being transphobic and threats of violence for admitting they're not attracted to transgender women, which is biological men who have transitioned into women. And this comes amid rows between women and trans women about the importance of sex characteristics and concerns around self-identification.
Right, OK, so lesbians have spoken out and said that they have at times even felt pressured to have sex with trans women or coerced into accepting them as partners for fear of being labelled bigoted or transphobic for not wanting to have sex with essentially biological men, right? So more than half of the 80 women who responded to a survey by campaign group Get the L Out reported being pressured or coerced to accept a trans woman as a sexual partner.
Yes, well, Angela Wild is the co-founder of the lesbian feminist activist group Get the L Out that we just mentioned there, and she joins us now. Thank you so much for joining us. This will feel like a bit of a minefield for some people, and even us explaining it to the average person, they might feel quite baffled. So can you sort of, in layman's terms, explain what's going on here?
Okay, in layman's term, lesbians are women who are sexually and, romantically attracted to other women. And we're talking about sex here, female to female. And what's going on is that we are receiving, a lot of us are receiving sexual pressure from men who have transitioned, who identify as women, who identify as lesbian. So to have sex with these men. Otherwise, we get called transphobic, TERFs, bigoted, Nazi, sometimes racist. And it's happening a lot online. It's also happening in real life.
Yes, I find that quite shocking, to be honest. The idea that if I'm a woman and I'm a lesbian and a man transitions into a woman, then I almost don't have a right to say, actually, I don't want to. I know you tell me you're a woman, but you're biologically male, so that's not for me. I find it shocking that people are being labelled transphobic and threatened because of that. And it brings me to something else, which is I've heard that lesbians have been forced to have sex with men previously as a form of conversion therapy in places around the world. There's a bit of a parallel here.
Even starting to eat their own. So it's not just about them wanting to identify with how they feel, but rather it's about them pressing upon other people about how they feel. And never mind that you only saw one lady in that report. Never mind her, because that is a thing that's going on. On my other channel, I showed you a person calling us bigots because we don't want them. They'll even pull the race card if you reject them. So no, it's not just about them wanting to be who they are.
Consider yourself gay?
Oh, hell no. I do not consider myself gay, and I will explain. Gay men, they like other gay men. And me, I'm attracted to heterosexual men.
That was a dude. Excuse me. That is a dude. But they wonder why they get found somewhere in the trunk of a car, shot up, or found buried in a shallow grave somewhere. Here he is dancing with Eddie Winslow. I only want straight men, he said. Or in other words, he only wants to violate someone else's space. And part of their delusion is that they think men who have sex with other men are still straight. They have convinced themselves that heterosexuality is merely a social construct, and they have no regard, no respect for it. Now, the next clip, I talked about it probably 5 years ago, maybe 6, around the time when it first happened. And I said that laying next to a toilet in a pool of his own blood was a very fitting resting place for sexually assaulting that man. I'm not going to show the images like I did in the video some years ago because YouTube has become way more sensitive since then. But I showed the images of what he did in that video, but I'm not going to do it here.
After almost 6 years of detention in the Philippines, Lance Corporal Joseph Pemberton was finally released from jail and flown back to the United States. Pemberton was escorted by immigration officers and military personnel when he left Camp Aguinaldo at around 8 in the morning. He was handcuffed and wore a face mask on his way to the Ninoy Aquino International Airport, Terminal 3. After more than an hour later, immigration officials confirmed that Pemberton boarded a U.S. military aircraft on his way home to an undisclosed location in America. Security for Pemberton's release and deportation was tight. Confirmation of his departure was released to media only after his plane left Philippine soil. According to immigration spokesperson Dana Sandoval, this was part of the security protocol for high-profile cases. According to the Justice Department, the former Marine has been blacklisted following his conviction of homicide, which made him an undesirable alien. However, he may apply to lift the order after 10 years after his deportation. Pemberton was convicted for killing transgender woman Jennifer Laude in 2014. The U.S. Embassy said all legal proceedings in the case took place under Philippine jurisdiction and law. It added that Pemberton fulfilled his sentence as ordered by Philippine courts. Minutes following his plane's departure, Pemberton, through his lawyer attorney Rowena Flores, issues a message thanking President Duterte for granting him an absolute pardon.
5-6 years later, they let him go. The soldier was looking for a female that night. Then some dude in a costume thought that he could fill that spot. And when the soldier found out, he made the other guy gone from Earth.
Thanks. Professor Peterson, let's begin with you. Why are you against the use of alternate pronouns?
I'm against the use of legislation to determine what words that myself and other people are required to utter.
So, mostly with this Peterson controversy, which is really just a small drama, a tempest in a teapot, he could just get over learning to program a few pronouns into his phone. By the way, I only have half a dozen or so that I actually use on an everyday basis, so it's not all that difficult.
When you look at those alternate pronouns, I think it's fair to say that some people will see that at home and see that as very unwieldy, if you will. What do you say to those types of criticisms, including the one you just heard from Professor Peterson?
Well, I'd like to encourage people struggling with this to be kind as their first impulse. We call somebody what they want to be called in our society. For instance, I don't call somebody Julie if they prefer to be called Jordan. That's just basic human courtesy. Here's a great little tip for people who are despairing at the possibility of remembering all those pronouns. What I do is just program in the pronoun next to the person's name in my smartphone. So whenever I'm out and about and I've forgotten whether one of my trans friends uses ze or zer or they or them or something else, I just look it up and it's really super easy.
Professor Peterson, sorry, Professor Peterson, I'm going to jump in because I think Professor Peterson wants to get in on that.
Yeah, well, kindness is the excuse that social justice warriors use when they want to exercise control over what other people think and say. So, if we're bandying back and forth our differences in values, I would say that the highest possible value is truth, and that one of the concomitants is that we need stringent protection for freedom of speech so that we can utter the truths that we see fit. And I think that that's a value that's much higher than kindness, for example. And so this automatic assumption that the people on the social justice warrior side of the equation are motivated only by kindness when they're also clearly motivated by power is something I find completely untenable. And I don't think that Pete's solution to program my cell phone so that I can remember what names people need to be called is a reasonable solution at all. We're actually supposed to now use electronic devices to bolster our ability to speak freely in case we offend someone?
Empathy. I mean, those of us who are trans encounter much more greater indignities every day and every week of the month. For example, have you recently had a bank employee accuse you of trying to masquerade as yourself at a bank and then locking down your ATM card and credit card so that you can't use any money? Those are the sorts of problems that trans people face every day, being out of housing, being considered, considering suicide. These are really big problems.
My refusal to use pronouns because left-wing activists want me to use them has nothing to do with whether or not trans people are having difficulties in society. And I'd also like to point out that I've had many letters of support.
Problem, isn't it?
I've had many letters of support from trans people, and they tell me that the trans activists don't support them, and most trans people
Jordan,
actually wanted to be referred to as he or she.
Doesn't mean
they
that
weren't
you
my
are
friends.
Untransphobic.
They
just
weren't
because
my
you
friends.
know a few people, just because you've talked
I
to a few
didn't know
trans
them.
people, you don't know the trans community like the trans community does. You've got no idea what it's like to be trans.
Professor Pete, Professor Pete, I'm sorry to interrupt. Let's let Professor Peterson finish his thought, please. But would you use alternate pronouns if a student asked you to?
I think I've made my position on that clear already.
Well, perhaps not to our audience at home who are just being introduced to this. Would you use alternate pronouns? And why not?
Because I don't believe that other people have the right to determine what language I use, especially when it's backed by punitive legislation.
Catering to that mindset helps them to justify their deceptions. They don't feel that they need to tell a person that they're in a costume. See, a lot of people are not playing games with their sexuality, like the youngster who went back to take the dude's life 2-3 more times. Made sure he was gone. And look, I don't care what nobody say. That's a sexual assault. Why? Well, because they didn't consent. Not consent to no man, they didn't. A lot of people take their sexuality seriously, but these weirdos think that people should just be open to all. Now let me play something for you. Now the clerk, he has a prank channel. The guy, the guy you'll hear behind the counter. And I think it's 6 of these dudes he does this to, but I'm only going to show you the first one and the last one. Here go the first dude.
You be smooth, bro.
You want the dip cheese and pepper? Dip cheese and pepper.
Hey, bro. I swear you was on that gay dating website.
My granddaddy, stop playing with me, bro. If I beat your bitch ass, so I don't even play like that.
Bro, you wasn't on that gay dating website?
You thinking that shit funny, boy? I'm not shit to play with, boy. I'll beat your bitch ass.
I don't want to fight.
Stop playing with me, boy.
Be my what?
What's wrong with you?
You really on that?
You retarded, boy?
Why you mad?
You retarded again?
Why you mad?
Hey, come on, folks. Come back there, folks.
What you mean?
Come give me my two, bro. Bring your bitch
You want to fight?
I want to beat your bitch ass.
Cause I said you was on that gay dating website.
Man, stop talking, bro.
I'm not saying you gay.
See, a lot of folks not playing. Now remember, it's 6 people the clerk pulled this on, but in the comment section, the last dude was given praise by these weirdos. The other 5 was attacked, describing them as, they were being described as insecure in their manhood. Described as having, or categorized as having toxic masculinity.
Display tearing the t-shirt off. What a display.
Here we go, Andre. No, wait a minute, Arndar. Attacking the champion from the blind side.
I love it. Look at this. Look at this.
And one person said that they drunk the heterosexual Kool-Aid.
What? Bro, what are you talking about, man?
You heard that? Described the normal and natural as drinking the Kool-Aid. But here's what the last dude got praised for.
Hey, man. Bro, I was just asking, that's all.
Stop playing with me, man.
I apologize. I apologize.
Man.
Hey, bro. Hey, you on the gay dating website?
Say what?
I'm not trying to holler at you. I'm just asking.
What you say?
I think I seen you on the gay dating website.
Man, get your goof ass up out of there, man.
What you mean?
Talking about gay. Hey, yeah, all right. Stop playing with me, man.
Nah, you know I'm just playing with you, bro.
Gets a round of applause for not having a problem with having his sexuality meddled with. And although the clerk was joking around, the weirdos think that heterosexuals should be smiley-faced about being encroached on. And Timothy Blaine, he did it again. He made a 3rd video about the Macy Gray thing.
I don't have my notes with me. This dude that made a documentary
going around asking women, what is a woman? There's no reason at all for this silly ass question. This is something you were supposed to figure out in kindergarten or in preschool. You were supposed to figure out male and female, right? Here's my thing, people. It is a dumb conversation. It is not necessary. You don't need to know what anybody calls themselves. It is not your business, right? If a person goes through all the trouble and the time and the life they have to live to become what they consider to be, for their outsides to fit their insides, this is who I am. I feel I am a woman. It is not your position to try to tell them who and what they are. I can do it because I'm in drag. I can do it. I'm unique. I can do it because I'm in drag. Get a bitch. Flame is weird as hell. She goes out of her way to discredit the trans community. And she hates young people. Fucking monster. Always talking about all these young ones here. These young ones, they don't understand. They don't understand. Oh, it wasn't like in the glory days. What glory days, girl? They're finally getting some recognition now, girl. That's been 40 years ago when I came out. 50. Really? 40, 50 years ago, girl. They're just not getting some recognition. Here you bring your stinking ass on there to piss and shit all over it, girl. Try to drive them back into the closet. To try to encourage people that when they pick up prostitutes, first of all, you shouldn't be out there picking up prostitutes. But then, you're not what I said you were. You ain't what I said. You ain't what you said you were. So now I got to kill you. And that's okay. I'm going to get 2 years in prison. Maybe you shouldn't be out there on the street picking up prostitutes, honey. And if you do, take responsibility for what you have done. You're the one picked her up. No offense, bruh. This ain't me. And you leave. You don't kill the person. Have I talked enough? Are y'all tired of this story? It's been going on for damn near a week.
Dangerous thinking. Blames the man for looking for a woman, but won't blame the dude who's out there selling his body under the guise of being a woman. Timothy and many others tell themselves that one could actually become something else and still genuinely be that. So these people really think that they don't need to disclose to someone what they actually are. Listen to what Tim goes on to describe.
We don't need anybody else wondering, you're not a woman. You're not a girl. Some people would say it's better to be a man. You're putting too much on it, honey. Why do you care what the people think about themselves? Girl, you're no good. A heartbreaker. You are a liar and you a cheat. I don't know why they let you do these things to them. Female impersonator. Right? I had a girlfriend, Lisa, in Los Angeles back in the day. She's my only, well, at that point, only real trans person, friend, a good friend. In other words, we got high together. But her thing was she looked like Flame Monroe during the daytime because she had big cheekbones. She had altered. She had, she didn't have no titties, but she told me what it was like for her to transition because Lisa's whole issue was to be a prostitute, right? Just like Flame Monroe dresses up for the stage, many others would dress up for the stage, a female impersonator. Lisa's thing was to dress up as a woman to be a prostitute. But she's another one of those who went to the extreme of actually having her face altered to appear to be a woman, right? But when she took it off, she still considered herself a gay boy, even though she looked like a man with big, huge cheeks, neither male nor female, right? Primarily, she's a prostitute. But for her, she started 2 hours early. Before it was time to hit the track at night, she started 2 hours early, right? And I was there for the transition because I said we would get high together. We would get high, then she would go to sleep. And when she wakes, she would get in it first. She would take big pillows, like your bed pillows and put one on each side, right? And then she would put tights over the pillows. She would put one on each side. Now imagine them, I'm my big bed pillows. On each side, she would put two more on each booty cheek, right? And then she had these tights that were big, too big for her regular body, but the tights would go over the pillows, correct? And then she would actually form it to have a woman's body shape, correct? And then this is the tights. This is under the underclothing. She would take, this is long before skinny jeans were even popular. She would take these jeans, and these jeans had the hard fabric, so she could actually mold it to look exactly like a woman. She would do a similar thing with the breast to create the breast, right? She could create, she could transform.
Fooling people, tricking people, deceiving people. But people like Timothy think it's wrong for somebody to lose their mind when they find out the truth. Pillows and all that. It's a mirage. But they think that folks should be accepting of that degree of violation. So again, it's not about them just wanting to identify themselves as something. No. It's about violating other people, and not just sexually.
So, I have been in the hospital since about 1:30 a.m. on Monday morning. Baby and I are being monitored. All is well.
This man is preparing to give birth in one of the least LGBTQ plus friendly states in the U.S.
Pregnant women are celebrated. Trans people are not.
Georgia has sodomy laws, HIV/AIDS criminalization laws.
An article will be in the description box about the Georgia HIV thing. Look, when they think that it shouldn't be against the law to place a ticking time bomb in somebody, then it's not just about them wanting to be treated fairly or that they just want people to respect who they are. They want it decriminalized to knowingly pass something to somebody that you know will kill them very, very slowly. Like with not feeling that they should tell somebody that they're in a costume, they also feel that they don't need to tell someone that they're carrying something that's killing them. Now, I know some of y'all have seen the exchange between Josh Hawley and the weirdo. And listen, trying to have a rational conversation with these people is irrational. And when they can't guilt you into co-signing their delusion, they'll just panic on you. Watch this.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks to all of the witnesses for being here. Before I want to visit with you, Ms. Metsky, but before I do, I just want to clear one thing up. Professor Bridges, you said several times, you've used a phrase, I want to make sure I understand what you mean by it. You've referred to people with a capacity for pregnancy. Would that be women?
Many women, cis women, have the capacity for pregnancy. Many cis women do not have the capacity for pregnancy. There are also trans men who are capable of pregnancy, as well as non-binary people who are capable of pregnancy.
So this isn't really a women's rights issue.
We can recognize that this impacts women while also recognizing that it impacts other groups. Those things are not mutually exclusive, Senator Hawley.
Oh, so your view is that the core of this right then is about what?
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnancies?
So I want to note that 1 out of 5 transgender persons have attempted suicide. So I think it's important
because of my line of questioning?
Because,
so we can't talk about it?
Because denying that trans people exist and pretending not to know that they exist
I'm
is
denying
dangerous.
that trans people exist by asking you if you're talking about women having pregnancies?
Do you believe that men can get pregnant?
No, I don't think women can get
So
pregnant.
you are denying that trans people exist?
And that leads to violence? Is this how you run your classroom? Are students allowed to question you?
Absolutely.
Or are they also treated like this, where
No,
they're told
allowed
that
to
they're
question.
opening up people to violence?
We have a good
by
time in my
questioning?
class. You should join.
Oh, I bet.
You might learn a lot.
Wow, I would learn a lot. I've learned a lot
I
just in
know,
this exchange.
absolutely.
Extraordinary.
Yep.
Ms. Matsky, let me ask you something.
They'll panic on you. She tried to guilt trip, talking about how you're going to make people kill themselves. And when that didn't work, she panicked on her. And all of them do that. You even saw that in Matt Walsh's What is a Woman?
And how I put it in words for kids so that they can understand it is, tell me your story. Where have you been in terms of your gender and your gender identity? Where are you right now? And more excitingly, where would you like to be in the future?
Have you ever met a 4-year-old who believes in Santa Claus?
Mm-hmm.
So this is someone who believes that a fat man is traveling through the sky on a flying reindeer at lightning speed, coming down his chimney with presents.
Yeah.
Would you say that this is someone who maybe has a tenuous grasp on reality?
They have an appropriate 4-year-old handle on the
Sure.
reality
Agreed.
that's very real for them.
Agreed. But Santa Claus is real for them, but
Yeah.
Santa Claus is not actually real.
Yeah, well, but Santa Claus does deliver their Christmas presents.
But then again, as found there, Michelle wouldn't even affirm that Santa doesn't exist. So I was unclear about that also. Like, do you actually think that Santa exists? What's happening? But it's as you're talking to these people, it's like you feel yourself going slightly insane. So it was a pretty bewildering exchange there, but it only gets weirder from here. Let's keep watching. Male gametes. That's what makes me male.
No, your sperm don't make you male.
Then what does?
It's a constellation.
In reality, in truth, okay?
Whose truth are we talking about?
The same truth that says we're sitting in this room right now, you and I.
No, you're not listening.
If I see a chicken laying eggs and I say that's a female chicken laying eggs, did I assign female, or am I just observing a physical reality that's happening in the world?
Does a chicken have gender identity? Does a chicken cry?
Well,
Does a chicken commit suicide? Let's
What does that have to do
frame
with-
it, because you're trying
The chicken has sex like any biological organism.
The guilt trip. Is the chicken gonna cry? Does the chicken commit suicide? That didn't work. Then she panics on it.
That's what this is about.
That's
It's
what
not
you
about
think it's
infringing
about.
on your rights or making you learn a new
I
fucking pronoun.
I don't think that's what it's about.
What evidence do you have that attempting to transform the way that people use pronouns is going to produce a positive effect on
Because
society?
are you aware that there is a trans boy who killed himself in psychiatric care recently because he was continuously being misgendered by his care workers?
And that is my precise problem.
And there have been multiple recorded instances of trans people killing themselves because they are not being integrated into society. We are not looking for special treatment. We are looking to be able to integrate ourselves into society. And if you refuse to refer to us by our pronouns, which is not allowed to ask, singular they pronouns go all the way back to Shakespeare. It's not a new thing. If you refuse to let us integrate ourselves into society, you create alienation that results in suicide. We are in a suicide epidemic right now. What are you contributing to this as a psychologist?
Man, you're almost impossible to talk to. You're so full of rhetoric that it's impossible to listen to you. I would be more than happy to listen to you.
Yeah,
really. I was devoid of rhetoric. And I don't really think I am a rhetorician. Just so you know that. And it's very hard to listen to you. I mean, it's very hard to attend to you
because
you rattle on in with your ideological speech.
It's not ideological. It's personal.
The clip I played earlier with Jordan and the lady arguing about pronouns. Yes, that was a female up there Jordan was arguing with. But you heard Jordan talk about legislation and punitive damages. So this weirdness is being placed into law. So no, we're not going to buy into they just want to be respected, and why does who someone sleeps with bother you?
And it's like the whole entire week is dedicated to telling kids about gay sex, anal sex, sex toys, 76 different genders. I mean, since when is Pride Week a thing? I mean, I guess I haven't been in school for some time, but you've got young kids. Since when is Pride Week even a thing?
Owen, there is an outright obsession by these people to push this into every facet. Let me remind you that this is Women's History Month, and they have put that on the sign here, but they have permeated and taken over Women's History Month. They've permeated and taken over Black History Month. And always you'll see now with these months and these advertisements, they'll put like the gay or transgender flag with it too. And it's like, wait a minute, you're taking over these months too? Yeah, you're just going to take over everything? So it's really insane. But as many of our viewers probably saw, the documents that were basically guides to the teachers on how to approach this week and a whole week. We really needed a whole entire week for this. But the guides, they originally said for the pre-K, as young as 4 years old, up to age 6, pre-K through 2, 6 or 7, it originally said respect privacy. What we say in this room stays in this room. Gosh, that sounds like something you would hear in Vegas. What happens here stays here. But now they're bringing that kind of philosophy straight into the elementary school. Now, apparently, because of the backlash, they have updated that. So it says what we say in this room stays in this room, but it's okay to tell your parents, which is contradictory to the first thing that you said. Please remember that we agreed to keep what happened in this circle confidential. So they're literally encouraging kids to have these conversations. Would you?
Oh, here we go. Somebody coming
We
in.
don't have any children on Facebook.
Somebody harassing you now?
Well, do you want to give a comment about your Pride Week and pushing the gender ideology on the children? Well, I mean, I'm looking right here at the guidelines, and apparently you updated this, but it says what we say in this room stays in this room. And then apparently you updated it to say that parents could be notified, like if you're giving the teachers permission to let the kids tell their parents what's going on. But I mean, this sounds like something that you would say in Vegas. Like, why are we doing this for kids as young as pre-K, first grade? So I did that. Apparently updated to say teacher will say okay to share with parents after backlash.
This is literally their own
Well, that's what I
documents.
was trying to show her. I'm like, is this the document? I mean, this is the document, isn't it?
That's right. And she's like denying it. She's like, oh, I've never seen that document.
No, then she relented and said, well, it's been updated. And I said, well, how can you say what stays in this room, what is said in this room stays in this room, and then add to it in parentheses, teachers make sure you let the kids know they are allowed to share with their parents. I mean, even that phrasing, like, oh, we'll allow you to share this with your parents after we said what we say in this room stays in this room. So it's two completely contradictory statements. And I mean, you only admitted that this was your own documentation until you wanted to say, oh, we updated that.
And look, the whole notion here is that, oh, it's so hard for gay people and they're discriminated against and we just want them to know they're accepted. Oh, really? The cops get called on a reporter who shows up to report on it. That's you protecting the gay agenda. No, I'm talking to you. You did that. And then he talks about how after they did the gay pride parade without alerting parents, everything went haywire. I mean, just respond to that, how it went down in the break, that first break. I think we have it recorded. Hopefully we'll be able to upload it on the full video upload to band.video. But
look, when you drop your kids off at school and hear that your kid was forced and coerced into attending pride activities, and on top of that, teachers told your kids not to tell you and you had to find out through some whistleblower. Listen, that's not people who just want to be respected for who they are. That's them wanting to take your kid from you. They are now invading your home, sending your kid back to you with all these crazy ideas in their head.
Female, women are being told that their bodies won't respond in the right way. They're being told that they're helpless, that men are always going to overpower them, that they actually, in some cases, they're actually being told that they can't consent because of the power imbalance between men and women. So there is no actual consent. You're always being oppressed. And I find that so offensive. I used to joke around calling me a feminist because a lot of this stuff is being done under the guise of feminism. But I'm embracing it now.
Right.
Because I was a feminist. And I think I always have been.
And there's nothing, that's based on equality and the ability to make decisions, and there's no difference between male and female. What they're branding as feminism and what they're branding as this new way of describing sexual assault and the power dynamic is, in my opinion, highly manipulative of the feminist concept and robbing women of agency, robbing women of the ability to make decisions.
And lastly, what I mentioned at the beginning about Animal Farm. The lady in the clip I just played, her name is Diana Davison. The rest of her video will be in the description box. The women I see complaining about the stuff I talked about in this video and see themselves as pro-women, pro-girl, but sees men and boys as the enemy. I wonder if they understand that what they've been doing against men and boys is in sync and in direct alignment with what these weirdos are up to. Weirdos who have a great disdain for male and female. What you heard Diana describe is one of the ways that the supposed pro-female advocates also simultaneously, while being a female advocate, they seek to subjugate females as well. The same ones that got you seeing males as the enemy of females. See, you don't like to hear about how men are allowed to be in the females' locker rooms at the gym or the spa or whatever, but do you have a problem with females being allowed into the men's locker rooms in the NFL or the NBA? Or the female advocates forcing Girl Scouts into the Boy Scouts, intruding upon spaces meant for boys? One of y'all got a problem with that, or do you just have a problem with men coming into your spaces?